Happy holidays, everyone. Happy 2017. Yes, it is here with us. Election 2017 in just a couple of months. Pins and needles, everyone. First show this year, 3rd day of January 2017. And we are back up and running. This is News Sources. We missed you while you're away. Tongue in cheek, the highlights of the program tonight.
From the time of voter registration to the time of transmission of the vote, there are a few electronic interventions, but the voting system remains largely manual.
In 2007, and the one who was declared the winner was not the winner.
Technology is here. It's important that we embrace technology and use technology to move forward.
Good evening once again. I'm James Smart. Now, tonight, the Media Owners Association is disapproving assertions that the country requires a manual backup. Chairman S.K. Macharia, in his presentation today at the Senate's Legal Committee, says there exists enough technological options, and when the electronic parts of the voting system fails, Macharia said the country has been making progressive strides in electoral reporting, and there was little need to revert the time back.
As far as transmission is concerned, you can transmit with the current night now. In 2002, we did not have mobile phones, most of the places, but we used satellite phones. You can use where you don't have mobile phone, you can use satellite phone. It costs only $4, 24 hours. So it's actually way cheaper than a normal phone. And election, all that the returning officers are required to do is deliver the votes after they have been counted to IEBC tallying center headquarters. There is no issue of either electricity or telephone communication, depending, because you can make a choice, or power, because all these equipments are powered by batteries.
Well, that's how we start the program tonight. For the first time this year, my panel, Ibrahim Moruko on the far right, Rosalino Bala, and Ramadan Rajab. Ladies, gentlemen, the country in this holiday period, we've been talking about manual or electronic. And here comes the Media Council representative, and he says, we've done this in 2002. In fact, to put his presentation in context, in 2002, we reported the entire of that election using satellite phones. And it happened. But then again, now we're saying we cannot transmit some or parts of those results electronically or manually. We're back in that conversation. Ramadan.
I think listening to him, I saw a man who is speaking a lot of truth. And as an individual, he's been in this business of voter transmission and having parallel tallying centers as a media owner. And he's seen it all. So when he speaks, he's speaking from historical understanding of how things work. So 100% I trust what he says. And even the logic behind it is so simple. I don't know why we are being taken to this debate of manual and electronic. Well, it's as simple as day and night that electronic can work.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Roslyn.
I also agree with Rajab, because being one of the media owners, I think he has traveled. Maybe he has gone through some of the elections. Just recently, our neighbors, Tanzania, had elections, and they used both the manual and electronic system. So I don't see why we are saying we have to go manual. And in any case, the BVR and the EVDs, it doesn't need electricity for us to use them. We used them in 2013. Why should it be that now we have to change the elections? And if you've listened to some of our leaders, what they're saying, and even if you read the election law that was just passed the other day, you'll find that there was a clause for disaster response. On this one, this is where the regulations are supposed to detail how we are going to have our elections. So why we are again coming with another law on the same is what we don't understand.
Mm-hmm. The proponents of the manual backup say that the biggest reason why we need a manual backup And basically, it's not just anything else. You're saying that they're going to use electronic, but when that fails, we're going to have paper print of the same. And the reason is technology always fails. Your phone goes off. It's failed. So you need a manual backup.
Well, you know, this has been the most polarizing discussion this country has ever seen. I don't know, actually, why are we here? You know, I also am also at a loss, really. But to come back to the point, I think today I was having a discussion around this issue with our IT manager. And he told me backup is necessary, but it doesn't necessarily need to be manual, right? And he took me through a very complicated things that it's possible to have one technology on Wi-Fi and have another backup in satellite, you see? So those are the people who understand exactly what is happening. Some of us are actually pawns in this very complicated game. We don't know what is being discussed. But at the end of the day, I do not know why we always look things from the negative point of view. Why are we just saying about failure? Why? It's because, again, there's a mischief somewhere. That's all that I can say about this.
Let's go just a step down and try to, open up this discussion. We're talking about 3 points of this. We have the BVR, which is where people come and register. Then there's the EVIDs, where during the election day, we come and identify you through the EVIDs. And then there's the election transmission. Now, the biggest problem is in the identification and the transmission.
Yes.
In fact, the issues we've had, the contests about elections and issues that the voters, we have some voting station where the number exceeded even those one who are on the voter register, is on the issue, the entry point, when a voter walks in. That's where the contest is. If you can clear that and say everyone should be identified electronically or through that kit, which means it's either through your thumb, iris, or face. I don't know where those guys saying that quarry workers come in, because identification is through a lot of ways. You can look at iris or the face of someone. That's how electronically you can identify someone. I think proponents of this manual, they're out to rig. And that's as short as it can be, and that's the simplest way we can put it. The proponent of manual identification, they just want to rig.
I see. Yes. What's the reason really for manual? Because I see the reason to some point where you need, the physical copy, all right, a printout. I see a reason why. But also I see a reason why why don't we have it in another electronic backup, another electronic system? Why does it have to be manual?
I think just what Rajbhai said, I think this is what is putting Kenyans to have doubt in the coming elections, because even our voting is manual. We vote manually, we count manually, where the issue has always been is how to transmit the results. And if you look at the law that we have now, we have a central portal where all the results will hit that portal. Even if I'm in my house, I will be able to access those results. So there is no way somebody will wake up tomorrow morning and tell me when you went to sleep, the results jumped from 1 million to 5 million. I will ask, from where? Because I will be able to know the results as they hit the polling centers, and not when they've been taken to the county center or now when they've gone to the national level. Maybe that's where now the confusion come in.
All right, and let's stick with it. And while at it, the Royal Media Chairman revisited the 2007 election that ended in dispute. SK Macharia says his media house had reporting capabilities enabled by satellite phones, which indicated Raila Odinga won the 2007 election hands down. Macharia said the loser of that election was declared winner thanks to the complexities created by manual reporting.
We tracked 2007 election, and we have clear statistics of exactly how the voting went in 2007. And the one who was declared the winner was not the winner in the figures that we have. And these figures are clear and deposited everywhere and documented.
Oroko, you have a first go at this. Do you have any reason to doubt what SK Macharia says? Or SK just says what we all knew and no one could say it?
Yes, that is actually what the question you put is actually the reality. The reality that doesn't want the reality that no one wants to talk about. But let me just go back in time. In 2002, I think some of us were around here and we covered elections. And the National Tallying Center was somewhere at Charter Hall, in the City Hall, you know. And I remember at that time, Citizen Radio was ahead of the then ECK by more than 1 million votes. But at the end of the day, the votes tallied. So I think the beneficiaries of that system have always fought it. You know, last time, that idea of the media being ahead of the results, of course, they are being announced at the polling station, and you can capture them and beam them out. And I think that's what he was talking about. It happened in 2002. It was very good for some people. 2007, I remember George Nyamwaya insisting at KICC that the media has no business announcing the so-called provisional results. So the reality is that it's a situation that we can deal with, but nobody wants to confront.
Yeah, and that's the point, because 2002, his media house actually called that election.
Yes,
that was 2002.
Yeah.
So you have reason to believe his track record in 2007, don't we?
Yes, and even the media.
Yeah, I believe, Macharia, I think if all the media owners will come in and also push for their own stake in this, so that we can have also media houses just tallying on their own, as much as they cannot declare the winner, but at least the media houses can also have the results. Because, you know, for us, during elections, you find media people stationed in all the polling centers. So if there is anybody that will get legible elections that have not been manipulated, it's the media people. So I think because of that, the media are the better place to tell us exactly what really happened.
Mm-hmm. Why now? Why is this important?
It's very important because we're now hearing more voices trying to help us confront our past. And this is the best way we can deal with the future.
Yes.
If we can be able to explain word or bit by bit what happened in 2012, going back to all elections, we'll be able to have a good election, well-managed election going forward. But if we try to cover up what happened in the past, like even trying to explain which registers were used in the last election, if we can't really explain, then we are just going around in circles. We won't be able to solve our election problems. I think this thing is good. We need more voices to speak about it so as we can confront our past and deal with our future.
This is important also because I think it was recently, there have been a discussion around how 2 million people voted in the last elections. They just voted for one level of the elections.
Voted for the president.
But again, we were asked if they voted for the president. I think when you were entering the polling station, you were given 6 ballots. So where did they dump the other 5 ballots? That one has never come out clearly. But even if it's a lie, the conduct of IEBC subsequently has been very unhelpful, because it has not even told us exactly, it has not audited those results and explained to the country what happened during those elections. How come they have failed? I'm told they have even failed to gazette the results.
The results.
Yet
they don't have even a registered
when they're
list.
walking out, they're telling us they are very good professionals. They should be paid billions of shillings because they worked for this country, you know. But they got good simple jobs.
Look at Kericho at Malindi by-election. We have a lot of questions about it. They have not explained it. If they can't explain, they have no business telling us they can manage the coming election well.
And I think this is why technology is important, because we should be able to even access the register of the people who have registered, so that when I go online, I can know that in Nairobi, these are the people who have registered. So if I go to a particular polling station, if there are 50 and the results I'm given are 60, then I should be able to question where did the 10 come in. And if we are not able to access this, that you just have to rely on a returning officer to tell you how many people are registered there, then I think that is also another reason to rig elections.
Well, and most importantly also, anyway, again, why would a digital regime be so attractive or hell-bent on sticking on a manual?
Well, I go to that thought because we're staying with it. Meanwhile, the Attorney General, Githu Muigai, in his submission says there must be a manual backup. The AG says the Kenyan Constitution does not expressly say we have an electronic system, but a manual system backed up electronically. Githu also says the amendments should be a bipartisan approach. Take a listen.
There can be system failure, and there has been system failure. And that is why we must have a method, even whether we send a man by motorcycle or otherwise. We must have a way of getting the results to where they should be. from the time of voter registration to the time of transmission of the vote, there are a few electronic interventions, but the voting system remains largely manual.
All right, you're first to go, Ramadan.
I think Professor is suffering from a social problem called political correctness. I think he's not speaking his mind. Eh? It's as if he's being remote controlled from somewhere, so he wants to look politically correct. Logically, he doesn't even believe in what he's saying. I think so, because I don't comprehend what he's saying.
Leslie.
I was surprised today to listen to the professor just 2 days after giving us a very good interview on KTN, and where he said he was not part of the drafting of this bill, which we can understand because this is a bill that has been there since last 2015, and it had just been redrafted to include some of the sections that they think had not been included in the law, which some of them are already in law. But now when you hear the professor saying that the election process is largely manual, then again he's talking about us going manual, which he's saying we have never been having the electronic process, then you don't understand where he stands, because it's like he doesn't understand what himself he's saying.
Mm-hmm. My idea of him is that his opinion does not really matter. It's not more. Listen.
Government. You
know, no. These are technical area, IT, not law. But the last time I checked, I was told he was the last time I was told he was a constitutional lawyer, isn't it? Yes. Maybe I failed one.
No.
Maybe I said maybe I failed one. I didn't say he's failed. But what I'm saying is, this matter is not supposed to be given to so many people to say. He's just expressing an opinion the way a journalist would explain his position. So if he believes in manual, yeah. But one of the things around this age is that he likes. He has no content really. All he likes is how he pronounces words. You know, for him, form is much more important than substance, really. In most cases, most things. And I've heard him say so many things that contradicts himself. So, anyway.
On the question of just the law, which is say that the Constitution does not expressly subscribe either electronic or manual. It just says that any system that IEBC relies on must be a system that is simple, that is basically free and can be verifiable, that both parties and everyone else, who can actually, say this is a system that we subscribe into and it's very clear and we can learn into. And that is the point. That whatever the system, it has to be simple and clear.
Because the Constitution itself does not talk about which system we want. But if you look at the IEBC Act, it talks about IEBC coming up with a system, and just a system, not systems. So what we are seeing in this proposed bill, they're talking about complementary systems. So we don't know if they're going to be 2, they're going to be 3 or 4, we don't know. So now if the law talks about simple, accurate and transparent, and here is a case you're talking about systems, how many of these systems are we going to have? Now we already have regulations that are lying before the 2 houses, National Assembly and the Senate. Why don't we go through these regulations, and then from there we can say, fine, we'll do the manual and have the electronic backup where possible. But in the case that we had said we have a central portal where the results will be transmitted, they have to be done, because that is the only sure way that Kenyans will believe that the elections are credible.
It doesn't sort still the problem of 100%, 99% voter turnout, does it?
I think that one was sorted out in the joint committee. The law that had been signed to law, and now which the MPs are trying, Jubilee MPs are trying to change. It has sorted out that issue of 100% turnout, an issue of ghost voters coming, or those who are dead and waking up. Today, the governors were speaking about the number of people who die every day. And I was shocked.
It's about 30 to 50,000.
Yes, I was shocked.
Let's stay with this, and staying with the Senate hearings, Chairman Kiprono Kitoni issued a strong rebuke to proponents of manual backup, saying, as a country that claims to be a world leader in mobile technology and the Silicon Savannah, yet make another counterclaim that we cannot transmit results electronically. The Kenya Chamber of Commerce, who are business representatives, say there exists many technological solutions that are suitable for backup. Take a listen. All right, we'll get to him shortly. But just to bring that, what was given today by the Kiprono Kitoni, he says, we claim as a country to be people who are very well technologically advanced.
Yes.
You know, mobile technology, M-Pesa, and that's all. And we go around the world and telling people that, listen, see what we're able to do with technology. But then again, we are here making a case against technology.
And in fact, to add on that, we have a CS, a cabinet secretary, who was poached from Google. And you know what Google does. Who comes here as well to defend such manual things? It's ironical.
To be fair, he had left Google before he
Yes, but he worked for Google. When they were sacked, he worked for Google. And now he's here claiming that we need to go to manual because Al-Shabaab will attack our masts. I think that's what I told you, political correctness. They want to sound political correctness, not using the intelligent to really look through these issues.
I think we're just being unfair to ourselves and lying to ourselves. Because to go back, Tanzania just had elections the other day. They used both the equipment we want to use now. Ghana did the same. They had their elections. We borrowed our equipment, the obsolete equipment now that we have, to Burundi. Why can't we do the same? Because we don't have the time. Why can't we get the equipment and just back it up with whatever we have and have an election that Kenyans can believe will be credible?
And again,
because I think in the field now, people don't believe in the coming elections.
And we've had 4 years to correct mistakes of the BVRs and whatever we had. Where were we?
What we are going through is the serious challenge of our elections. Nobody wants a free or a credible elections. That's the bottom line of all these circus around manual. Because in any case, I think the same discussion was, what are we transmitting anyway? Are we transmitting photographs and graphs? No, just text messages telling us the figures, right? That Uhuru got 50,000, Raila got 20 votes, you know. Do they really need, how will it collapse? Just sending simple things. If you are sending an image of James Matt with maybe 300 MB, all of them at the same time, that could cause a problem. But we are just transmitting the figures, the name and the figure, which does not require so much.
The problem, I mean, after we've scattered around the whole thing, the issue is just a question of trust. Yeah. Okay, whatever the system, it's just a question of trust that someone somewhere across the republic on the election day would try to play monkey games with the system. That is it.
Yeah.
And how do we address the question of trust? Because that's a problem.
No, that's not the question. The question is, somebody wants power by all means. It's power games.
So that's right, someone will monkey with the system.
Yes.
So how do we solve the trust question?
Because this is something that has been happening. And that's why we even brought the Kriegler Commission to try and retrace where did we lose it. How can we have a good election? 2013, what we did was called peace journalism. Nobody was talking about it. See, no, hear nothing. We didn't say anything. Now we are here, we are faced with an election that from every quarter, the way you're seeing it, it won't be a peaceful election. So I think this is a time for us to confront it. Whether bad the way it is, we have to confront it and correct it before August 8th.
You spoke about trust problems. And so, you can't go and buy that trust in the shop or confidence in the shop. It comes through electoral processes and procedures. Like IEBC could have started this process of winning people around and saying we can handle a credible election by making sure everyone is involved. Look at the example, a perfect example is this bill in which Duale was forcing through Parliament. How do you expect other people to trust such a bill which is being forced through people's throats? Mm-hmm. That's where we lose the trust.
Lose the trust. So we're asking you on Twitter, do you think the manual backup is a setup to rig 2017 elections? Do you think the manual backup is a setup to rig 2017 elections? Hashtag news sources. Tweet me at James Watt. I'll be happy to hear your thoughts and opinions. When I come back, I'll come back with some of it of those of you who are watching the program tonight and you're tweeting in your thoughts and opinions. This is News Sources. Taking a short break. We'll be right back.
Still moving.